What's up guys, Sub-Zero here. Set 8.5 is coming to PvE today, and it's going to be released on live servers in a few weeks. So I want to give you guys a quick crash course on everything that is happening in 8.5, all the big changes. So first thing to start with, items pop off. So items now, when you take an item off carousel, are going to immediately pop off after the carousel. So for the first carousel, it means you can take a unit and the item will just immediately pop off. You can do whatever you want with it, as you can see here. This also means for later carousels, you can 2-star a unit, have the item pop off and not have to worry about being stuck with that item. So really, really nice quality of life change. The next big change are these glitched out carousels. So there's always going to be one at stage 2. Sometimes there will be more throughout the game, but they're special carousels. So you can see in this picture here, it's a carousel where each unit has 2 item components. As far as I know, there are 2 other types of carousels. So we have this version here, which is a carousel where you have the little tome of items where you can pick up these tomes. They'll have items on them, and then you'll crack them. The item anvils is what they're actually called. So there's that version, and then I've also seen this version, which is eggs. So you can have this version where everybody gets an egg that takes some amount of rounds to hatch. The one I saw in this game took 5 rounds to hatch and gave a bunch of gold, like 12 gold or something like that. I'm not sure if there can be bigger eggs. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But egg carousel seems super fun, and of course they also come with the items that pop off. So you get the egg and you get the item. Here are the units that we are saying goodbye to in the mid set. So one costs Galio and Talon. Yuumi also being removed. So big changes to mascot, and I'll get into later what the replacement for Yuumi is going to be. On the threat side, Vel'Koz just they nerfed him into the ground when they realized people don't like their carries getting stunned. Cho'Gath is getting removed, so that's sort of like half of the coin for Rammus. Interesting that Rammus is still in, but Cho'Gath is being removed because I feel like they're sort of like 2 sides of the same coin. Senna is going to be removed as well. There's some other sure shot options being introduced. Zoe is getting removed as the sort of premier AP Gadgetean carry. But once again, Vex is sort of similar to Zoe in that she's a blue buff carrier. We'll get into that later. On the 4-cost side, huge changes. So Sedge and Set both coming out, both premier 4-cost tanks getting taken out. And on the AP side, Soraka and Talia both getting taken out, the 2 main AP damage dealers. But like I said, we'll get into some other replacements for them later. Zat coming out, and you will see later why this unit has to come out. Zed being removed from Laser Core. The carry is now going to be Warwick, which we'll talk about later. And then the only 5-cost to come out is Aphelios. Next thing I want to go into are the changes to traits, because there's some big changes here. So first one, Hacker remains the same, but it gives Omnivamp to the Rider. So before, it just gave Omnivamp to the hackers. Now, if you want to put a non-hacker on the Hackerim, it will gain some Omnivamp. And if you put a hacker on the Hackerim, then it's going to get, even more Omnivamp. So say you put a LeBlanc and you have 3, she'll get 30% because she's a hacker, and then an extra 10% for being a Rider, so she'll get 40%. Next, we got Quick Draw. Some recons have been changed to Quick Draw units. Also, Misfortune and a new unit, Lucian, are Quick Draws. It's all about the projectiles they send out. So you think about Misfortune ult, she's sending out all these waves of bullets. For every 2 damaging ability projectile they send out, they're going to send out a bonus ability projectile. So this almost reminds me of Twin Shot, if you played with that in the past, where you're shooting these projectiles and then you're getting extra projectiles. So you think about something like Kai'Sa, she's shooting out those projectiles. You're going to get extra ones. Or like Ezreal shoots out an ult, you're sometimes going to get a bonus one after you cast 2. So should be really fun to play around with. And with no more recon on Kai'Sa, this will sort of create like a very different version of Kai'Sa carry. I loved Kai'Sa throughout the past set, so seeing sort of like a new Kai'Sa should be very fun. All right, next trait is really cool. It's Parallel. It's only for Ezreal, and the one new 5-cost they created is Ultimate Ezreal. So we got 2 Ezreals in the set. They're like parallel versions of each other, and when you play them, they make each other's abilities even better. So late game, if you're playing this Parallel Ezreal as your carry, then you're probably going to want to include the 2-cost Ezreal to make him even stronger. Next change is for Sure Shot. Big change happening here is now it's a 2, 3, 4, 5, so you don't have to worry about slotting in 2 and then 4. You can slot in 3, you can slot in 5, so it's just a lot more of a smooth curve. Also, Ashe is now a Sure Shot because Recon's been removed, so it's slightly different the way you curve out. Also, Sivir is a new unit that is a Sure Shot, and she's also an Infinitium, which is the next new trait, the biggest vertical trait trait that they are adding. It's a really, really interesting trait. So when you play Infinitium, you get these portals. Put a unit in the portal and you make a duplicate version of them with less damage and less HP. However, they gain items depending on how many augments you have. So it's early in the game, you've just taken 1 augment, they're going to get an extra item. Late game, you've taken 3 augments, they're going to get 3 items. So you're basically going to get an entire new 3-item champion. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit weaker, but yeah, really, really cool. And as you add more Infinitiums, you get more portals. So should be really, really fun to play with. So Laser Core looks like it's still 357 on this page, though on Mortdog's rundown, it looked like there were some more breakpoints, so I guess we'll have to see once PBE comes out. These things change very, very quickly during PBE. The big change is that once you get 5 in, all units get a drone. You're basically getting Laser Core spats for every single unit once you get 5 in, so even if you have 8 units in with 5 Laser Core in, they're all going to get drones, so really cool. If you have a unit that you really want to put a Laser Core drone on, then you can do that by just slotting in 5 and then adding whatever other units that you want. Also, Warwick is a Laser Core carry that we'll get to in a sec. The other current trait that is being changed is Ox Force. So now instead of giving attack speed, it is just going to give you armor and MR. This doesn't scale with missing health like the attack speed did before. It's just straight up armor and MR. So that'll make, of course, Viego more tanky. And now that Talon's been removed, we just have Annie, Alistar, and Fiora as our Ox Force. So only 4 Ox Force is naturally going to be hard to get to 6 Ox Force, but I mean, man, that's a big buff. And the last new trait is Rift Walker. So this is a pretty weird trait in that it's a 2 cost, 3 cost, and 4 cost. You're not going to get this online very early, and Jhin is a late game carry. So you're not going to really be playing this until late game. But when you do play it, it's going to summon an ally Zac. So think about the threat Zac we have right now. It's going to summon that Zac. And the other really crazy thing about it is Zac is going to gain the last listed trait of the closest Riftwalker. So if you have Pyke in and you put him next to Pyke, he's going to become a hacker. If you have Vex in, he's going to become a mascot. And if you have him next to Jhin, he's going to become a renegade. And this does count for traits. It reminds me of trainers when you had the old Namzi of last set, where it would give you a unit and Namzi ended up sort of like counting as 2 of whatever trait it was. So, you know, if you want to play Renegades, you can play Jhin and then play 3 Riftwalker, get a Zac, and then you already have 2 Renegades, so then you're just going to have to add 1 more. The last big thing is all of the units being added. I don't want to make this video too long, so I don't want to go through every single one. Some really cool units that I want to point out are Gnar. So this is sort of like an AD 3-cost carry in Gadgetean. So now if you want to play AD Gadgetean, you can. So that's really cool. It looks like they've really sort of like rounded out some of these trees with an AD carry and an AP carry, so you can play both. A really insane unit by the look of the preview is Morgana. She 40% sunders and shreds enemies that she hits, and her ult hits 3 enemies, so she's going to shred and sunder those enemies and binds them for 1.5 seconds. That just seems insane. If you are ever needing armor reduction or magic resist reduction, you can absolutely play Morgana, and she's just going to be insane. I'm sure this unit is going to get nerfed. We will see as PBE goes, but she seems very strong right now. Another really cool unit, Vex. She is the new mascot. Backline carry Yuumi has been removed, and she is a 40 cost mana, so you definitely want to put like a blue buff on her, have her pop off. She shoots out these damaging missiles, and then on 3rd cast, the missile is empowered. So you want to get her casting. Maybe there's a new mascot reroll comp that caps out with Vex. I guess we'll see. Onto the 4 costs, they're all really cool. Some ones that I want to point out immediately. We have Jhin, the 4 attack version of Jhin, which I've never played before, but if you've played TFT in the past, I think this version of Jhin has existed before, but it's basically he attacks, and then every 4th shot, it's a big shot that he fires. It's a piercing bullet that goes towards the lowest health enemy, deals physical damage to all enemies in a line, so I imagine it's almost like his ult shot, basically. So that should be really cool. I'm excited to also try out Nico, who is sort of the replacement for Talia. She's a Star Guardian spellslinger, and she throws her ult. It bounces 3 times, then the 3rd bounce does some extra damage, so it's another like AoE mage, similar to Talia, but slightly different. Twisted Fate is really cool in that he's a duelist spellslinger, so he's like an AP duelist. This means the duelist tree is going to lean more into AP, unless you're playing around like Vayne carry. Once again, you have like Vayne, the AD option, or like Twisted Fate, the AP option. He's got a really cool ability, so once he casts, he starts drawing cards every time he auto-attacks, and then after 2.5 seconds, he throws all of his drawn cards, so the more auto-attacks, the more damage he does, and then the final card is a red card that deals some AoE damage, so you want to give him a ton of attack speed. Guinsoo seems like an amazing item on this unit. Guinsoo, Static Shiv, +1, seems really, really good, so really fun Guinsoo candidate. And then the last 4 cost that I wanted to talk about is Warwick. So this version of Warwick that gains Omnivamp and extra attack speed is back. He gains attack speed on takedown, and then his active is that he jumps at his target, attacks 6 times, does some damage, and then if the target dies, he's going to get some mana back. So definitely could be a very, very scary Warwick. People are talking about, Divine Warwick of the past. That was horrifying. He's also triple trade Admin Laser Core Brawler, so really interesting traits. You could really go in any of these directions. You could make him a Brawler carry, a Laser Core carry, an Admin carry, or you could play multiple. And then the last one is this Ultimate Ezreal, which we've already seen. He shoots out those Ezreal ultimates, and then he gets buffed up with the Ezreal 2 cost carry. So yeah, like I said, I didn't want to make this video too long. There's also a ton of augments for all the new carries and some augment changes for current units. So I will leave a link in the description to this page on blitz.gg that shows you guys all of the changes. But yeah, I am really, really hyped to get into these changes and play with everything new. It looks really, really fun. Some very big changes, but also, not too much change. So some of your knowledge from the last set is definitely going to carry over. I'm going to be live tomorrow streaming these changes, so I hope you guys tune into my Twitch, which I really, really hope you follow. Also, guys, enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking, and then commenting down below with what you guys are most excited on playing. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.